Hey, what's up, Giants fans? Coming back right here with a quick recap of day 2 and 3. Couldn't get up a video for day 2, but that's alright. Like I said, I'm gonna talk about it here. At the end, I'm kind of gonna give like a impromptu, quick-ish grade on the entire draft. Y'all already know how I felt about the first round. If you don't, I'll try and put the eye up in the upper right corner of the video for you to go check it out. But quick recap of that. I thought we had a B grade for that for the first round. I talked about how I feel about Daniel Jones and all that. Check it out there. I really don't want to reiterate, but let's get into this one right here. So our first pick in day 2, we didn't pick at all until number 95. I had to sit there for 4 hours, watch for 4 hours as 65 other players left the board, and we were just waiting for the Giants to do something. Now, personally, I had thought and believed, and I actually wanted to trade back up either into the early 3rd round or late 2nd round to get a right tackle or something. Because as soon as the 2nd round began, both the cornerbacks and the top tackles started flying off the board. So it was smart on Gettleman for people that for some reason thought it was dumb to trade back up for DeAndre Baker. It was smart on Gettleman to get him at 30 because as soon as the 2nd round began, they were flying off the board. Now we didn't do that. That was fine. And when we came up to pick 95, the player I was looking for at 95 was actually Yannick Juiced, tackle out of West Virginia. I thought he was the best available right tackle, maybe even left tackle with some development on the board. And I really thought we were going to go there because we already went offense, then 2 defensive picks. I was like, all right, we're probably going to get the right tackle here and whatnot. But then they surprised me by taking a player I had completely forgotten was still on the board, in O'Shane Ximines. And I was completely happy with the pick. O'Shane Ximines is an extremely underrated player out of Old Dominion, and the reason he's underrated is because of the school he plays at. Put him at any other school, and I guarantee you he will still put up the numbers that he put up, and he would have been a 1st round pick. People actually had him graded as a 2nd round pick on most people's boards. On my board, I had him as like, the 70th overall, around that area, overall best player in the draft, and then we got him at 95. I thought it was a complete steal. I don't know how he dropped this far. Not to mention, the guy is big, strong, and fast, and he's a huge Giants fan. I haven't seen anybody that excited to come to the New York Giants in a long time. When Pat Shurmur called him, this guy literally dropped the phone to the floor and his entire family went crazy. He had to pick it up. He was fumbling with it. Like, that's how excited he was. He was giddy with excitement. And I love to have a player that loves to be here, so I'm happy with it. He's personally probably the 5th to 6th best edge rusher in the class. I mean, there was a couple reaches in the first round I was surprised about, so maybe teams value it differently than how I guess we value it. But there was even media people that are like, yeah, he's like the 6th best edge rusher in the class. And he did play in a 4-3 system in Old Dominion, if I'm not mistaken, but he even said it himself. There was a number of times they had him out there not playing hand in the dirt, but actually playing up, and he had to go into pass coverage a couple times. So he has experience, and I'm pretty sure he could just slide right into 3-4. Now, I want him to become an immediate starter, but if anything, they're probably going to do with him what they did with Lorenzo Cardinal last year, and that is use him situationally so that next year he already has a good amount of experience, he has a feel for the game, he could slide in as a full-time starter. And I don't mind that, but I personally think he could slide in as full starter, so that for me was a A+ draft pick. I didn't expect him to beat her at all. And then when we next picked, it was down in the 4th round, round 4, pick 108. We took another cornerback, Julian Love out of Notre Dame. And here I was really expecting once again to go right tackle. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure David Edwards was still on the board. He would probably have been the best right tackle available. But instead we went corner again, and it's not like this is a bad pick. See, now here's the thing. I would usually give this an A+ grade, but I'm going to have to give it a B because we didn't go right tackle, which is probably our biggest need at this point in the draft. We already have our edge rusher, we already have our QB, we have our inside pass rush, we have the number 1 corner in the class in Baker. So in terms of need, I'm gonna have to give this a B, maybe even a C. But no, I'm gonna keep it a B because Julian Love is another player that had a second, third round grade on him. Speaking of which, it's not just him. There was a bunch of players in the draft that dropped completely to the 4th and 5th rounds that nobody expected them to be there. Julian Love is one of them. Another one I'll speak on later. So cornerback, profile-wise, he's actually very similar to Baker. They're both the same height, 5'11", both the same weight, around 180, 190, and both ran around the same speed. They both play very similarly in the terms that they're great hybrid corners. They have that good zone and man coverage, and they could both tackle very well. So there you go, scheme fit for James Betcher. I expected to use him extremely well. At this point in the draft, I was like, all right, so our starting cornerback lineup would probably be Jenkins, Baker, Sam Beal, and maybe Julian Love as a backup, so that next year when Jenkins is gone, because at this point in time, it's becoming extremely clear that Janoris Jenkins is not going to be with the team for long. It's just going to be like shift up. It's going to be Baker, Beal, Love. And Julian Love, like I said, he's a top 10 corner in the draft. So amazing value here and an amazing corner. Our secondary is already almost fixed. I mean, we just need a free safety. And maybe even with one of these extra 2 corners that we drafted, which I'll speak on later, we can move one of them to free safety and whatnot. But our secondary, I expect great things from it. Next, we got linebacker finally. Ryan Connolly, round 5, pick 143 out of Wisconsin. To be completely honest with you, I never heard this dude in my life. Didn't scout him at all, and I did scout a good couple of players, as you all know, from my mock drafts. But I never heard of him really. Went to a small-ish school, I guess you could say, in Wisconsin. He does fit a need though with the inside linebacker. Off the top of our head, our 2 starters are Alec Ogletree and BJ Goodson. We don't even know if we're going to keep Ogletree after this season, so we did kind of need to either find good depth at the position or potentially a starter. At this point, I actually would have wanted Mac Wilson. Once again, he was another player I'm pretty sure was on the board, but he dropped throughout the draft. He was definitely somebody that had actually a first to second round grade on him, and I'm not sure why he dropped. Right now, the best theory is there's some type of off the field issue that we don't know about. Maybe some with his personality or some type of incident he got involved with off the field. But Mac Wilson was rated as the top, after Bush and White, of course, the top inside linebacker in this draft. You know what I mean? Even Tavion Coney was available here, and I had him graded above this guy. So, I mean, like I said with Jones, and I'd like to say this for all of them, I'm going to reserve how they perform in the pros until I see them perform in the pros. I could only talk about how they performed in college. So for Ryan Connolly, I did just some quick search up of him, and according to sportsreference.com, his career in Wisconsin, he had 159 solo tackles, 92 assisted, total tackle for loss 251, 6 sacks, and 2 interceptions. So I mean, pretty good at the since we're taking him in round 5, I guess pretty good for the position. He is undersized in terms of height and weight, but I mean, I guess he's a good depth player. Maybe he could develop into something. If I was to put a grade on it, I guess I'll give it a B or a C. I don't know. The next one is somebody I'm really excited about. Round 5, pick 171, Darius Slayton, wide receiver out of Auburn. So for those of you who want a wide receiver, here you go. Personally, I would prefer one of those tall red zone threat receivers, but this is good also because honestly, if there was any type of receiver I would have wanted, it would have been either the tall one or the one that could take the top off of defense. And this guy could certainly take the top off of defense. He ran a 4.39 at the 40, and in his tape, you see him blazing past everybody. This dude is 6'1", so he still has good height. He comes in and he's probably gonna be the tallest Giants receiver, unless I think Cody Latimer is 6'2", 6'3". But who knows if he's gonna keep that starting job there as a third receiver. He got good competition already with Coleman. and maybe even with this guy here, because after some quick lookups, apparently he's a sleeper. He was rated as a round 3 to 4 prospect, and we got him here towards the end of round 5, so pretty good there. Like I said, he's extremely fast. He has good strength for his size. And then an offense for Auburn that was pretty terrible this year. He did as well as he could be. I mean, when he got the ball, he did his best, the best he can do, and he took the opportunity and ran with it, literally. In 2018, 35 receptions for 670 yards. That's averaging 19 yards per carry. And he led the team with 5 touchdowns in 12 games. So, I mean, in an offense that was pretty terrible, he did the best he could. I see him as a future starter. He could probably be our second or third receiver out there. For now, though, good depth. I like the pick. Then, the other corner we drafted in round 6, pick 180, our only pick in round 6. Notice that we're still ignoring the right tackle position, our biggest position in need at this point. We take Corey Ballantyne out of Washburn. Ballantyne is a good corner. Certainly another steal in this draft. In fact, you could argue that all of our corner picks were steals. We got them in places we did not expect them to drop to. He still matches the profile of the other 2 we got, and he's a good pick, yeah, good value at a position and all that. But we're still ignoring the right tackle, and I'm gonna keep bringing that up because now we drafted 3 corners in this draft, and we already had 2 viable starters in Sam Beal and Janoris Jenkins. Some of you might say, hey, Sam Beal didn't even start a game yet. Why are you saying he's a valuable starter? That's because we gave up a 3rd round pick for him. What this tells me is that either the Giants are going to move one of these guys to free safety, which I wouldn't have a problem with, or we're going to be trading Jenkins before the season. That's the only way I can see it. And hey, maybe we trade Jenkins for a right tackle. A starting right tackle, that is. Package Jenkins with, I don't know, like a 3rd or 4th rounder for some team that needs it, and just get a right tackle that could start. Because at this point, we're kind of oversaturated at the corner position. And that's good in the NFL. You need depth at that position, but I mean, what can you do? It's a little too much at this point. Speaking of right tackle, we finally got our right tackle in George Asolfo Ajay. I probably butchered his name. I know it's kind of weird. I can pronounce Zimenez, but I can't pronounce his. Right tackle out of Kentucky. And for these last 2 picks, I'm not really going to say much about it because I don't. And this is not insulted players. It's just it's just like a fact of the draft. If you're being picked in the 7 rounds, you usually don't pan out that much, or your ceiling is usually just being great depth at the position. Do I really think this guy's gonna give Chad Wheeler a run for his money for the starting right tackle job? Not really, but he can surprise me. He's certainly good depth. Started all his games as Kentucky, was a captain at Kentucky. He has great experience and great strength and great durability. So I like the pick. I like the value here. Hopefully he could develop. Otherwise, I think the way they're gonna go is really trading Jenkins, packaging him with a pick or a couple of picks for a right tackle or somebody. And then with our final pick, we got Chris Slayton, defensive tackle out of Syracuse. Once again, just another good value. Not sure if it's good depth though. If we picked anybody here for depth, I would have liked to go linebacker again. We already have 6 or 5 off the top of my head defensive tackles on our team, including about 4 of them that could start. We got BJ Hill, Dalvin Thompson, Dexter Lawrence, RJ McIntosh, this guy, Avery Moss, if I'm not mistaken, is defensive tackle, all that. So I mean, I think there's a couple positions that we're oversaturated by. Maybe he's gonna turn a couple of these guys into linebackers, who knows? But I can't remember who exactly was on the board at this point. But I would want it with a middle linebacker. If I had to stamp grade on it, I'd give this a C. But overall, it was a solid draft. It's a very solid draft. I don't know. I'm not gonna give a letter grade on it. That would just be too much. Like I said, I like to see this guy play in the pros, but based off of what they did in college, it was a solid draft. We did address technically every position of need, just not in the order I would have liked it to go on. Kind of oversaturated at the corner and defensive tackle, but I think we're gonna use a couple of these guys to get a best right tackle available, or maybe we're gonna sign Mike Renners off the waivers because he's currently a free agent. But yeah, like I said, that's a quick recap of the draft overall. Like I said, very solid. Hopefully half of these guys can pan out, because we all know all of them are not gonna pan out. That's just a hard fact of the NFL. And I think Dave Billman did good, despite the criticism he's getting, despite all the stuff for Daniel Jones. Whoever says this was a bad draft is just not looking past the Jones pick, because it was good. It was very solid. And that's all I gotta say about it. Gettleman, good job. Take the heat that you get with it, because you made the choice. But let's go Giants. I like all these players. Hopefully they all pan out. That's all I gotta say. Yeah.